Hello, everyone, and welcome to the One Conscious Love Network. I am joined here today by Lorna and Scott. I'm very happy to have them with me here. They're going to tell you a little bit about who they are and how they're sharing their light into the world. So please introduce yourself and tell us what it is that you're doing these days, because I know everyone's really going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm Leora, and my wonderful husband and soulmate Scotty, and our band is called Winsome Kind, and we make music together and life together.
We've been doing so for the last 12 years, and where to begin?
Well, we'll begin, I think, closer to what we've just completed. I mean, I think our last few years we've really transitioned into, always our music has been about sharing positive conscious intention and really shining our light. It's always been a mission and a mandate in our music to just to really shine light, even if we're talking about dark subjects, which doesn't happen too often. But you know, the full spectrum of life experience, and just that idea of the fact that you know, music really does have the capacity to heal, and especially through intention has the capacity to shift everything. And so much of the music coming at us, so much of everything coming at us, you know, doesn't have that conscious intention and that love. And so for us, creating this music has been really important for ourselves and for our children and for the broader communities. So yeah.
So our latest album is called Mantras for a Magical Life. We recorded it this past winter. We live in Saskatchewan.
See if I can hold it up to the camera.
There it is there. We live in Saskatchewan right now, so of course we've got the really cold winters, so we decided to stay home this winter.
Last winter we did 3 months in Mexico, but this year we said, okay, we'll stay home. We'll see what that experience is like.
And we played in our home recording studio here, and we tuned the instruments to 432 hertz, and we were, you know, these mantras came, you know, just pouring out of Leora's heart over the last, you know, year and a half or so, 2 years. And it's funny because we thought we were actually going to be recording a different album, and then Leora felt so strongly that
I woke up one morning and I was like, Scotty, we have to do this album first. It needs to come right now. It needs to be birthed, and it needs to come out on our 11th wedding anniversary. And it happened. You know, it manifested. It's been a really beautiful process.
And also, like, it's been an interesting is not the right word.
It's been quite cathartic. It's been, you know, when you're singing these affirmations that, you know, that came out of my heart, sometimes we would be recording them and like it would be physically painful because there was so much healing happening, and it just felt really important, you know, to speak love into both ourselves, but also knowing that this was going to reach other people.
Beautiful. Yeah. What brought the inspiration that you were saying that they've been coming through you, and there's a need to share it with the world? And what brought them to you? What would you say led you down this path of being?
I mean, for me, it makes me think of becoming parents. First of all, our oldest is going to be 10 next month, and to me that's like a little, you know, mind blowing. Like, how do I have a 10-year-old? But it's also beautiful because we've watched him grow, and you know, we tried to birth our kids consciously when they came through. And then I think it's just, our music has always had that, I think, that sort of conscious element to it, especially, you know, as a conscious couple, as a masculine, feminine, you know, coming together, creating music, you know, collaborating in that way. And then I think it's just naturally,
and then sort of that mixed into the pot of all the adventures and travels we've been on with our kids over the last few years, and sort of it's been amazing and expansive. We took our 2 boys, when was that? 2021 to Mexico for almost a year, and ended up back in Canada 8 months pregnant, and gave birth in the forest to our little baby girl. And, you know, there's challenges that come along with taking these grand leaps and going on these big adventures. And I think part of, like, your question was, where did they come from? They sort of came from sort of just like really choosing to say yes to the experience of life. And sometimes you get brought to your knees, and sometimes you go through things that you might not have expected, because
or you experience this amazing, you know, ecstasy or happiness and joy. Like, we've
Absolutely.
had the ups and downs. It's been,
and so these songs would just come out, you know, they would just, in these moments of, this medicine just needs to be spoken aloud, either to myself or to my baby or whoever it is. And and they just kind of, they stuck. And I started singing them to my voice students in my voice studio, and we would sing them together. And then, you know, the kids would request them. They would say, I want to sing I Receive the Blessings Around Me today. And it was so beautiful. So it just kind of felt like the timing. And also, I think really claiming our, you know, inspirational artist.
Yes, absolutely. That's been a big thing of this past year. We were nominated in the Sask Music Awards for Inspirational Artist of the Year this past year, which was really, really cool to get that sort of acknowledgement. And then just before that, a couple of our songs actually won Empowered Positive Music Awards as well from our previous album, our song Frequency, which is all about finding community. And we filmed this beautiful music video in our garden here in Saskatchewan. And that music video, and then, you know, ended up winning the award. And then, of course, our song Trail of Love as well, which is the last track on our previous album, Love in a Hurricane, which we recorded that album, Love in a Hurricane, before this mantra album, partly while we were traveling through Mexico. Actually, we had our little mobile recording studio and some microphones, and of course I had my guitar, and
all packed up into a suitcase,
you know, traveling and feeling inspired. We were going to different places, and we would set up our gear and we'd record a song, and so there's parts of that album that were recorded in Mexico, and then parts of it that were recorded back here in Canada. We finished it actually on Salt Spring Island, when we went and took our camper to Salt Spring Island with our 3 kids, and stayed there for 4 months and finished our album. And it was a beautiful, beautiful experience, and connecting with community there. And we seem to do that wherever we go. We're always, you know, connecting, finding those connections along the way, right? And I think it's partly when you vibrate at the same level of somebody, you pick up on that, right? When you're attuned to that. And so we've been very blessed along the way to meet lots of, you know, kindred spirits.
That's so beautiful. It sounds like the inspiration just keeps flowing in, and your creative juices are flowing very well, and that you're connecting at the right frequency with the right people. That's such a beautiful journey to be on. Tell me a little bit about your journey coming up. I hear that you've got some exciting plans for the upcoming season.
Yeah, we've been working, you know, hard to get this album out in the world. We actually just got these in the mail too. We created a little like a little song book to go with the mantras.
So it's got the music inside.
And our next trip that we're going on is actually coming up very soon.
Well, we've been booking a bunch of summer tour dates, but the first one coming up is a big trip to Texas. We are heading south and going to a really wonderful gathering on a regenerative ranch in Bandera, Texas. And the gathering's called Confluence. You know, you may have heard of it. It's been going for a few years now, I think. But it's spearheaded by Alex Zek. He has a podcast called The Way Forward. And they actually just launched a big online community as well called The Way Forward, where you can become a member, and there's a whole business part as well. So you can see all the conscious businesses and connect with. It's a whole another network of people that is, you know,
it's really beautiful.
I just think people are trying to find these connections more and more. Yes. And so we're so fortunate to have been invited to come and share our music.
The event is kind of like a choose your own adventure. There's so many there's musicians, of course, we're coming to share our music, and amazing like speakers and workshops. Veda Austin, who does all the beautiful work on water.
Water and consciousness. Yeah.
Yeah, she's speaking right after us on Mother's Day, and
but the whole weekend, it's like 5 days, musicians, speakers, workshops, and the whole thing. And it's really just about connecting and collaborating and meeting new people. And
of course, it's 15 days for us because we're driving down with the kids.
Yeah. Yeah,
it'll be beautiful. And then a summer tour, a Canadian summer tour to the West Coast as well. So
we'll be out. We'll be playing some shows,
announcing those dates.
Yeah, some of those are announced. We have some dates in Alberta that we've already lined up, and we're just finalizing our dates and our shows in British Columbia. So yeah, really excited to come out west. Of course, I grew up just outside of Vancouver, so I've got some family and friends there. We both have friends there, and yeah, it's going to be wonderful.
That's so beautiful, and to spread all this love and abundance, I just love it. It's just been very inspiring to talk to you guys. What would you say has been your journey into music? Like, how did you start into music?
Oh, that's a good question.
Who's going to go first?
Well, we could start where we met. I mean,
yeah, we've both been making music since we were young, like singing since we were kids, and yeah,
we came at it a different way. I was really like more classically trained and had all the theory and was sight reading and this, and he was kind of,
I sang,
especially guitar.
I sang in choir, but I really relied on my ear, and I always just played music by ear, whether it was piano or guitar, and I would sing and make up songs.
But we met, actually. This was I call it a past lifetime, because
2012.
We met as actually professional actors, musical theater performers. So we met doing a production of the Buddy Holly story. And that was fun.
In Regina, Saskatchewan.
And so the cast was, playing and singing and acting. And so we kind of discovered pretty early on that we just really enjoyed singing together.
It was love at first sight.
Yeah, it was. And one of the very first things we did together was a trip across Canada on Via Rail, and we played music all along on the train the whole way from Vancouver to Halifax, and then people were like, "Where's your CD, your album?" And we're like, "Oh, we don't have it yet. We don't even have a band name yet." And so that was kind of a beautiful incubator,
or the birth of our band. Yeah, for sure. Well, and so we came back to Vancouver, and in 2014 we released our debut album, and so now this is the Mantra album is now album number 4. So we've got 4 albums of music that we've been releasing over the last 10 years or so, and then that's not even including, so the other project that we have these keep songs that we've been creating over the last couple of years, and they're basically one-of-a-kind commission songs for your loved one, like for your child or for your grandparent, or they're
my heart's absolute favorite thing to do ever for work.
And so that's the next project at the moment.
Well, we've got 16 of them done. We actually literally just finished our son Avery's, who's going to be 10 soon. We thought, well, we can't release volume 1 without Avery Jude's song being on the first volume. That wouldn't feel quite right. So but
each one has been created with such care and intention, to capture the essence of whoever we're writing about.
So everything from little babies to a son on their 8th birthday to we had a family get together and get one for their great grandma who was turning 99. So I got to write it in like the old musical style, the old kind of Hollywood musical style, and it was so beautiful to write, and just it's been and our kids love listening to them as well, and so that'll be fun to share.
They're currently all unreleased, but they're up on our website through our SoundCloud. You can find them if you go to winsomekind.com, and they're just under the Keep Songs.
And we just had a commission actually for someone. This will be a new one for us, like a wedding anniversary. So we're going to do like a little bit of a different style one soon, I think.
Like a love song or something. Yeah, we'll have some fun with that. But
we have about 4 on the wait list, but my brain, it can only handle so much. So I just, when I ruminate for a while, and then it'll just come out, and then I go, okay, Scotty, turn it into something real. And so it's kind of a lovely partnership that we have going on.
Yes, that's beautiful. And what would you say keeps you at those high vibes? Like, what sort of practice are you doing to keep yourself there and keep you into the flow of things?
That's a great question. Yeah, I would actually wrote about it on my personal page yesterday of all the things that, you know, the self-care and the things that kind of keep us in that level, which sort of, you know, have included
everything from just
drinking clean water,
you know, eating well. I love to do all the sourdough things, you know, and we make our own bread, and
yeah, we take care of our bodies. We've been using these phototherapy regeneration patches to activate our own healing. And a big one for us as well is mindset, right? Using these mantras as medicine and speaking to, you know, shifting our programs and our patterns in our brains to the positive and to the abundance and to the natural flow. And it can be it needs to be, for me at least, a really conscious effort, especially right now with all the inundation of everything coming at us, just to stay in that place of like love. And that's why I'm here. So
yeah, and then I think further to that, like to be able to you know, process and integrate is things like, I don't know if you've heard of human garage, but it's like doing things that the breath work and fascia release. And I actually practice body work, and we have a teaching studio here, and I do some body work sessions, and so and I've been practicing massage. I studied in Vancouver, actually, the Vancouver School of Body Work and Massage. So working with the body in that way has always been something I've been super, you know,
gardening
about.
We love to, you know, have our feet in the dirt, and our eyes in the sunshine, and planting our seeds. And yeah, so it's kind of a whole well-rounded, you know, it's not just one thing, but it's all these things that we just make priority in our lives. Yeah.
Well, one thing I've noticed for myself, actually, and you might have had a similar experience probably quite some time ago, because you've been doing it a lot longer than me for the mantras. But when I first started doing the mantra songs in particular, I started noticing how much of the mainstream music goes in and is repeated as well. They are like mantras, but they are so negative, and you know, speaks about jealousy and anger and disappointment and sadness and drinking and just excessive.
And that gets stuck in your subconscious, right?
And you're
lodged in there.
They get trapped in your mind, and you're repeating them. And you know, I never really had much thought of it before I got into the mantra music. So for you guys, how do you inspire people to change into this new mantra meditation type of music that are more in the mainstream? Like, what would you say to them to invite them over to the side?
I mean, I don't even think it needs more than just an invitation. I think people just need to know it's available to them as an option. I think there's a lot of people who are looking for it and they just don't know it exists. And that's partly why I felt like I really wanted to write this. I mean, there's mantra music out there and there's a lot of beautiful high vibration music. But I think what this album particularly does is it sort of bridges that gap between I'm listening to just like something, the style of it is more like a folk.
Yeah, it's more,
you know, you might
singer-songwriter.
You could, if you didn't hear it right away, you might think, oh, this is just on the radio or whatever. And it's a little bit more accessible in that way. And it's really written for adults, but also like anybody of any age. And and I think that's just a good reminder of, I mean, I teach kids as well, right? So I say, well, what's your favorite song to listen to on the radio right now? And then sometimes I'm quite shocked at the answer. And then I go and I listen, oh, this song has 300 million streams. And I listen to the first 8 words and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is, first of all, well beyond anything that a 10-year-old should be listening to. And then I go, well, how does that make you feel inside? You know, and then, you know, so that's an interesting sort of shift of like, well, how does this song make you feel? And so that's why I introduced the mantra so much into the singing lessons. And then a lot of like the older music, you know, from like the 1950s. And so I just find, because the most important thing for us to be able to like feel free in our voices is to also speak you use sounds and words that are empowering. So yeah, I think it just more requires just an invitation of like, do you want to try? Do you want to listen to something that might actually just feel good? And so far the response has been absolutely incredible. Like so many, women say, oh, I'm going to play this every morning now as my kids get up, so that it can set the tone of our day up right. Or I like to listen to them in the bathtub at night. It's at the end of the day.
The whole album is only 22 minutes. It's actually, amazingly, it turned out it's 22 minutes and 11 seconds after we got it mastered.
Not on purpose.
2211. Somehow in the numerology lined up, but
on purpose by accident.
There's 9 tracks on here, and it really covers the gamut, just from like, it's, I love my life. I receive the blessings around me. My body is wise, trusting in our bodies, even when it's hard, even when it's easy. It's like, sometimes it's hard, but we're still worthy of those hard things, or if it's easy,
I want to sing that one right now.
Money flows to me.
Even when it's hard, I can get through it. Even when it's easy, I am worthy of it. And then we just sing that over and over in your head, and it's just beautiful reminders.
I'm just saying all the track names here.
Do it.
Then there's track 5 is Money Flows to Me. I have all I need. It's about wealth and abundance, right? The Waters of Life is a song Leora wrote for like women, and it's called the womb song. Track 7 is I Love You, You're Beautiful, You're a Miracle. Because we all are, each and every one of us.
I think that one's best sung in the mirror.
Track 8 is I Am Safe, I Am Protected, I Am Loved, I Am Respected. Our kids actually sang on that one with us, and their voices just sound so beautiful on it. And then the last song is Spiro Ergo Prospero, which is Latin for I breathe, therefore I prosper. And if you've ever come across the Gene Keys or Richard Rudd and his wonderful work, that's one of his, he really speaks to the breath. And
he wrote that phrase down in his little book on contemplation, and I read it, and yeah.
Turned it into a mantra.
I was showering and I started singing this thing in Latin, and I guess the angels just really wanted to come through.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that one's pretty special.
That's so beautiful. I just feel like so much of that love and abundance that you're speaking of, but also really putting out into the world. And as you mentioned, this is a time like no other, and people really do need those high vibrations and good frequencies and love, and really to reprogram ourselves from that world of pop music and everything else that goes with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, love over fear.
Right?
Yes. Love over fear, love over fear, right? We have to lead with love. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's so beautiful. So what are your plans for your future? How do you see the next few years for you guys?
Well, just more magic.
Just exploding. Conscious music taking off, and more people wanting to find it and share it and feel it. I really think there is a growing, like you were speaking to earlier, like there is a growing appetite for this kind of music, because I think people are just feeling so disconnected and like there's so many just to distract us all the time, and the disconnection. I think people are looking for a sense of connection and community, and I think music can be so powerful that way in bringing us together. So
we'll stay tapped into that. We have 3 kids at home, and they're all unschooled, and they bring their own magic every day. So it's never boring around here.
And we're just looking to connect with more and more conscious networks like this, and conscious creators, right? And conscious music festivals. And we love doing house concerts. At private house concerts is such a great way to have that, sort of
more intimate
connection with your audience and with the music. And the music can actually be that giving and receiving experience where, sometimes it gets, I don't know, there's a time and a place for everything, I think, right? And going to some of those big shows are really fun, and it's a wonderful experience, but it's not the same, as really having a conscious music experience. It's such a different thing.
And doing it live, you're just receiving so much from people at the same time, whether it's a small or a big group. I just find it so exponential, the frequencies and the intentions of all the attendees, how much it kind of grows and becomes its own frequency in itself and its own vibration. And it's so beneficial.
We've really experienced that at these conscious festivals. Like last summer, we actually attended one in Northern California called Music and Sky. It's another festival down there, and just for 4 days, you know, it's such a high vibe event. There's no alcohol, there's families, you know, everybody's there to learn and grow and be in community and share ideas.
Open-minded conversations.
So many,
you feel safe to just explore things and not. And so
we're gonna be doing the same thing, I think, here in Texas very soon at Confluence, and it really is such a wonderful experience. It's just like being in person with people face to face. I mean, this is wonderful too, Melanie. Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us today. But you really can't replace that in-person connection. You know, it's that face to face. Sometimes it's just where you can hug somebody, right?
Definitely. Yeah, that's so beautiful. A question I always ask everyone is how you choose conscious love in your everyday. So I think you touched on it here and there, definitely. But when I'm asking this specific question, what comes for you guys?
I don't even have to make that choice. I mean, I wake up with my little daughter in my arms every morning. So it's for me, it's just it's my purpose and why I'm here. So that that in itself fuels everything for me, at least right now, and hopefully forever.
And I'm so deeply interested in exploring different aspects of consciousness that some of the books I'm reading these days, and just like Leora says, the way we're, you know, raising our kids, just always trying to learn and grow and put out love into the world. You know, I think that's always been at the core of our music and what we do together. And so
it really comes down to self-responsibility, right? The only mind we can change is our own. So if we just keep coming back to that reminder to ourselves, even if it's 11,000 times a day.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, that love is definitely received today, and for many days to come, for sure, through your music. I'm really appreciative of your time and being here. Any last thoughts or anything else you'd like to share before we wrap up?
No, I don't think so. Thanks for having us on.
Gift yourself some 22 minutes of mantra medicine today and hit play.
That's right.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, that is really, really beautiful. Oh, it's so lovely to have you on. I know everyone is going to enjoy. We're going to put all your links in the comments so everyone can access you guys easily, follow you, and get your updates on your upcoming events and tours of this information. So thank you so much for being here today, and thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, Melanie.